Hello YouTube, Chance Paladin here, doing a review for Broken Roads by Drop Bear Studios. This is a strategy RPG, pointy-clicky isometric RPG, pointy-clicky post-apocalypse story game with strategy RPG. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to be kind of skipping through this and giving you my thoughts and opinions and feelings and the positives and some things where they need to do some work. And this isn't a paid thing. I paid full price for the game. I have been following them for like 4 or 5 years through the development of this. So I have been eagerly anticipating it for a long time. I'm a huge fan of Shadowrun Returns and Dead State, and this is just fits perfectly right in with those games. So first, this is the first screen you're going to run into after the story. There's 4 classes to choose from. I forget to click through them here and space out. I space out. So there's 4 classes. Each have different pros and cons. There is there's your appearance, where there's a couple of male and female looking characters you can choose from, and you can choose your name. This is your morality compass. It determines the dialogue options that dictate how your character is going to act. There's utilitarian, humanist, Machiavellian, and nihilist. And it has kind of chat examples of how your character is going to behave based on your compass. And it gives you questions to kind of get you in the mindset of how you're going to want your character to act. And this isn't set in stone. You can still lean a different direction if you're liking other directions to go. So it's basically, yeah, humanist, nihilist is kind of like you're in it for yourself. Utilitarian is like you're going to be pragmatic, and Machiavellian is kind of going to be like you're going to be a leader. Or, yeah, humanist is like, hashtag Team Humanity. So, let's see. Fast forward to stats. You have attributes, which are like, stats and skills, strength, agility, resolve, intelligence, charisma, affects prices. Awareness is how often you're going to get ambushed once you get to the overworld map. And then it's like a couple of these are, maybe new words for people. This is an Australian game, indie developer, and they chose some interesting names. You could be like a melee kind of, weapon barbarian-ish kind of a person if you want, a tank. You can be, a sniper, something in between. All kinds of stuff for you to discover. Lots of different playstyles. And every tooltip has like all the examples of everything that you're going to be going through also. So none of this is a mystery or a surprise. And with 4 different characters, you might do 4 different playthroughs anyway, so I'd say this game has a lot of replayability, but we'll get into more of that later. There's lots and lots of pointing and clicking and chatting, and in this game, this isometric game, the characters, I find them to be highly detailed and articulate, and the voice acting.
The engineer fixing our radio. At Kokeby, you'll be meeting Mick, the mayor of Brookton. It's an easy job.
I like the voice acting. You can get to it later. You can pet the dogs and cats. The game runs really smooth. all the controls are exactly how you'd expect. Holding tab highlights everything, which we'll get to that in a minute. This is the quest log. Your kind of typical quest log that you'd expect. It works really well. It keeps your history of everything in here, just like the Telltale games did and SWTOR did sometimes. So if you ever forget, need to come back later, it has everybody you've talked to and why and what you're working on. There's lots and lots and lots of dialogue options for everybody that you want to talk to if you want to do that. Lots of little quests to do.
To give us a hand on the way to Kokeby.
Here's like your first intro to combat. And you have basically movement points and attack points, so you can move and attack. It shows you all your ranges and if you're in range of them, if they're in range of you. And I find that to be pretty useful. It doesn't have kind of, well, maybe it does. I haven't really seen necessarily yet if it has like a cover system, but it has a flank system and it has crazy amounts of attacks and counterattacks. I found the attacking to be very, or the combat to be very in-depth. This is just a tutorial though, so you're learning how to fight mannequins. The inventory system works really as much as you can expect a modern inventory system to work. You've got armor slot, head slot, and tons of different kind of quick action inventory slots, and a ranged weapon and a melee weapon. Pretty straightforward. And this is, yeah, this is a tutorial town. Like I already said, you're doing chores there, and your point's to kind of get everybody together to get to Brookton. Or wait, is that right? I think that's right. I'm already forgetting the town's names, I'm sorry. But you're getting your group together and learning what there is to learn. These as you're going through everything you click on gives you XP, which is a great excuse to click on everything because you get leveled up faster, which means you're going to be even more of a badass in combat later. And also, side note, if you want to the tooltips of what everything means in the Australian slang, you can mouse over the tan words, and that's like a tooltip. The controls are very intuitive. Double clicking runs you around, and the maps aren't so big to where that's not a drag. There's a narrator, which is kind of neat. I like that. And just performing random stuff to help everything out. Help the camps out, and it lets you introduce to everybody and get the quests done. And I've already said this, you can pet the dogs and cats. Yeah, I don't know, there's a lot of love in this game. And I think that's one of the, whenever there's a lot of love in a game, I can tell, and that's what always draws me to the game. You see I'm running around clicking on things and I'm gaining XP as I go. So you kind of get the town ready. You get everyone ready to go because you're going on a convoy. Yeah, this is Kokeby, right? No, you gotta go to Kokeby.
Once you get there, meet up with Mick.
Can't believe I already forgot all the town names.
Anything else you need from Bally Bally before we go?
Oh yeah, this is Bally Bally, that's right. once you open up the Overworld map, you'll see all the different town names, and it'll make more sense. But cute little town here. They're all cute little towns. Yeah, I like the design of the towns. I liked running and clicking around and doing things. Alright, here is the, trying to leave the town. You run across your first casualty, and how you decide what to do. Oh yeah, it lets you level up everything first, which is really nice. So let's see, get to kind of the first. Oh, the save system works really well. Yeah, so this is very, very Dead State like, and in some regards Shadowrun Returns also, where you decide what you decide everything. If you have awareness, all those things change. Every single stat and skill and everything, not stat skill. A lot of stuff changes your potential dialogue options, which changes how you can get through the game. So, like, you may be able to save this boy may shoot somebody before you, take him down, so on and so forth. How you behave dictates whether or not these people make it, and since this is kind of like a post-apocalyptic universe, do you want to try to save people or not? There's not like a food-based system where it's like, oh no, I've got more mouths to feed. But saving people still means they're going to show back up later. So, I don't want to spoil a lot. But, lots of stuff like that in the game. So if you're into that kind of fun stuff, like different ways of tackling problems, this game is for you. So, this is kind of where things get a little fussy for some people. This is kind of the first fussy part of the game. You're kind of thrust into a second tutorial town, but this gives you more of a chance for world building. It gives you more of chances to learn more of the game. And if you're already in a chill mood and you want to just chill anyway, then this isn't going to bug you very much. I think they have it in their couple-month plan that they're working on, because they're still very much supporting this game, to change the pacing of this a little bit so people can get into combat first if they want. And hopefully how they do that is by allowing a couple quests here to be able to explore maybe a teeny tiny bit of the map a little bit more. But as far as I know, I think there's still, like, sometimes, like for my playthrough, there wasn't a lot of combat, but for other people, depending on their playstyle, there might be more combat. So that was one of the criticisms leveled, is some people weren't a fan of the chill pacing. I think they wanted this game to be way reading through some of the comments, I think they were expecting, like, I don't know, Final Fantasy Tactics or something, where you talk a little bit and then combat, talk a little bit, combat. But this is very much like a narrative strategy RPG. So we will get into the combat later. I have a lot of combat footage to talk about, and yeah, so this is kind of just being honest. It's kind of like a second tutorial town, but there's a lot of world building here, and you pick up more folks to, because you're kind of like picking up folks as you go from town to town to go on your convoy. Oh yeah, this is the selling. There's lots of vendors in this game, so you're going to be buying and selling a lot of stuff. And once you get into combat later, you'll be figuring out, you know, if you use a lot more heals, or if you use a lot more AoEs, or you want to buy, sell, trade weapons, or whatever. I think there's a crafting system. I haven't got that far yet. I think there is, though. I just haven't got into that. But this is the inventory system. Works kind of similar to what people are used to. You drag things over and you figure out if you like how much it's going to cost, and then you confirm it and then you pay. Works as much as you'd expect. That's me buying a radio, for example. This is the inventory system. You get a lot of, depending on what stats you put in, is like how many different kind of quick slots you get, and then this is your armor slot and your head slot, and your ranged weapon and your melee weapon. And then here's your kind of a quick glance at your damage, and then you can outfit each one of your party members also. And I think that's gonna be it for this one, the part 1. So I'll cover more here in a little bit. Alright, so kind of part 2 of me trying to do this review. So yeah, this is kind of where a lot of the criticisms leverage, because you're at Bally
We're just here to
Bally,
pick up some parts for the radio.
now you're at
Then we're
Kokeby,
headed down to Brookton with Mick and Cole.
and then you're headed
we'd say
to
hi while we're
Brookton.
here.
And so, yeah, it starts to feel like, you know, tutorial, but lots of world building here, and I'm gonna skip through it, but yeah, I truly believe that they're going to break up this pacing, and I hope they do it by some of these side quests allowing you to use the world map to That's the dialogue in this game is so great. I think they're going to, I think they kind of get it now, and I'm really excited for them adding more combat and seeing exactly how they add more combat. This introduces you kind of into the different factions, the different ways that you can conduct yourself. You can be, you know, a pacifist if you want, or you can be a jerk, or kind of anything in between if you want. I'm kind of skipping through the footage to see if there's too much more to talk about. I point and click on things a lot because it's fun reading everything. It's fun building XP, so I can feel a little bit more powerful and get into bigger battles without getting completely destroyed. So, let's see, eventually I end up in Brookton. So here's Brookton, and again, if you're kind of collecting buddies as you're moving from town to town, because you're the hired gun, and it's your job to kind of escort these people around, because it's a dangerous place out there, and everyone's gonna have very, very different experiences playing through this depending on how your character behaves, and I believe even what type of character they choose. So this isn't going to be completely indicative of your experience. Now, I will say so far the game had been completely stable. Hadn't been any crashes or anything like that. And I am going to be completely honest with what was good and what needs work. But so far, besides some pacing that bugged some people, I was having the time of my life. Lots of things to click on, lots of stuff to buy, lots of people to talk to, lots of funny slang that you can mouse over and see the tooltips of. if you want. And yeah, basically another town of people to meet, optional people to take along with you if you want to go through the extra added effort. And yeah. I found lots of I was finding all kinds of just interesting optional things, like there's a windmill that isn't working and you can decide to fix it. If you can figure out how to fix it. There's a sheep that gets stuck in a fence. There's tons of stuff to loot, and there's free things to grab everywhere. So here there's like a sheep in the fence. It's like, can you get the sheep out of the fence without making a bunch of noise? The dialogue and everything in this is so funny. This ragged-eared jumbuck has gotten his head stuck in the fence while trying to eat a nearby bush. It was reminding me a lot about Borderlands pre-sequel. And oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Lots of people to talk to. Right. Let me skip ahead a little bit. All right. There's a little bit of kind of a, how do I say this, like a interlude between the second town and the third town.
I'm getting really tired of surprises.
And again, this is all super chill for me. I think, again, some people maybe didn't like the pacing of there not being action in between every single town set piece, but I liked it. You explore a plain, a wrecked plain area, and I've been trying to keep it pretty light on the spoilers, because how you handle and interact all this stuff is going to change everything. So I want you to find your own paths and have things to surprise you if you check this out. So if you're wondering part of the reason why I'm skipping it, that is why. Alright, so you end up in Meridin, at least in my playthrough. I don't know, I assume maybe this is where everybody ends up sooner or later. And this is kind of the hub. And you might think, oh no, more tutorial. But clicking on the kitty, you can pet the cats and dogs, like I said. And all your buddies that you've been caravanning with are here. And again, like I was heavy use of me clicking through the quests to try to decide what I wanted to work on and how good of a job it did at keeping all my notes. So let me think. I've been clicking on lots of stuff and talking to lots of people and getting lots of XP. Lots of mysteries to solve. I know this is kind of an unconventional review. I'm not very good at these, but that's obvious. I kind of wanted to just showcase this game that got review bombed really bad, but they're slowly climbing their way out of it, and I just think the game is lots of fun and there's lots of stuff to do, I think. If this looks fun to you, pointing and clicking and talking to people and learning about all the lore, then you won't be disappointed. So I'm going to skip ahead though and get to where the map unlocks, and then explain some of the combat. Around here though is where I did experience one bug. It's not at this exact part, but there's supposed to be a character that asks you to come get a drink from her, and the quest didn't work. So I think I'm maybe like 2 patches into the game. They've been patching it every couple days since, so they've been ultra responsive. But there was a quest that didn't quite work for her, or well, maybe rather for the other character I was working with. So yeah, let me. There's a quest hub in this town. This town is the whole hub for you, as far as I know. But this town has a quest hub, and that's also where you start building out your party to go on adventures. So let me fast forward and get us to where the guild hall is. Alright, this is kind of the bread and butter, the hunters and collectors, which is the guild shop, guild hall. And you can do both. You don't have to choose one or the other, but you got the hunter stuff on one side and the collector stuff on the other, and it's just kind of like it says. The hunter stuff is kind of more like combat related, and collectors is kind of like going and finding things. So then there's like a wanted poster right here. One of the first quests is to go capture possums. You can kill the possums, or you can capture them, and it's kind of one of just the fact that kind of everything in here has tons of different options that you can do. This is where kind of like one of the first hiccups that I had in the game though was, which is it wasn't super intuitive how to capture the possums, but after a few minutes of searching I realized you just have to walk up to the possum and grab it instead of shooting it to death. So yep, this is the guild hall. They also sell some of the best weapons in the game, at least as far as what I've ran into so far, and some of the best armor too. And they sell medkits, and well, just overall this hunter shop is a very, very, very good shop. So yeah. Next I think I'm gonna go over the overworld and combat, and I think that's it. Alright, this is the world map, and once you click on the world map icon and form your party, you can figure out where to go, and there's different quests to go to all the different spots and figure out all the different things. And let's see here, what am I doing? I check, yeah. As I've said before, I check my journal a lot. You'll be checking your journal a lot, going through all your notes, trying to figure out exactly where you want to go. And I guess there's 2 ways to get to the world map. Once you're already out adventuring. You can only choose your party once every time you go out, by the way. I forgot to mention that. So once you choose your party, that's your party until you go back to town and pick up more people. And I guess that kind of makes sense. So right there, I paused it for a second. This is the world map icon. And, or you can just travel to the edge of the map, but this is kind of the easiest way to go about it, I've found. So world map. And then, you know, I was checking my quest log to figure out where to go. I'm looking for a certain place to go, and Kulja is where I wanted to go because I had a quest to go get some bad guys. So this is an ambush, like I said. You can get ambushed, you can try to flee. Your flee percentage can get higher based on some of your stats if you want to avoid this, or you can fight them too and try to get more XP, or maybe you just die. And if you can't quick save during combat, so you'll get kicked all the way out of combat and have to start from your last autosave, which isn't the end of the world. So this was one criticism from some people, which is you don't get to kind of choose where you start. But in every game I've ever played that's a strategy RPG or tactics RPG, if you get ambushed, they're going to be closer to you anyway, and you don't get to choose anything anyway. So you'll see there's lots of green, or I mean, there's lots of red arrows. That's because I'm in range of all those people, because it's an ambush. This is another kind of a bump in the road that I ran into, which is, I believe, one of those dogs glitches out in the middle of combat. Sorry, this is me still learning. I'll fast forward a little bit. It's really easy to navigate all of the combat options, by the way. And that's what throwing grenades around looks like. The UI is really, really good at telling you how accurate your attacks are going to be. This isn't, as far as I can tell, this isn't like Shadowrun, where, you know, throwing factors in a bunch of skills. So I wasn't like missing grenades. And to be honest, I kind of like that. It was so wild in Shadowrun. I can't remember if it happened in Dead State also, where you can like throw your grenade, miss, and like blow yourself up. But I don't know if there's a stat that allows you to throw grenades further. But I found Molotovs and grenades to be pretty decent, and these guys will really clump up, and you can really AoE the heck out of them. So, kind of reminds me, I can't remember which tactics game I used to play, but one of them I remember like the AoEs just being like crazy strong, chaining AoEs together, and I could see that being a pretty viable strategy here. So yeah, this is one of the first critiques I'll leverage. One of these dogs combat glitches out and kind of soft locked the game, but I wasn't too upset about it. I mean, yeah, if you were doing really good and you were looking forward to beating them, and then you get soft locked by the dog, it is kind of annoying. It only happened to me once. The second time, the dog recovered, and I've posted that to their forum, and I hope they take care of that. It wasn't enough to really trigger me, to be honest. Is that dingo over there is the one that does it. It wasn't enough to trigger me, just because, I mean, it happens. These strategy RPG games, I think the way the code is, it's just incredibly hard to make it to where the bad guys, either their pathing or their combat or the AI, is just gonna soft lock the game sometimes. I don't remember it happening necessarily in Shadowrun, but I remember that they had to really mess around with, Hairbrained had to really mess around with cover and movement AI and stuff to get it to kind of work right. And in Dead State, their AI would also get locked up. I know that's a struggle, because there is tons of math and loops of logic that have to happen. So I'm very confident they'll get it figured out. It only happened to me once. The second time it sorted itself out. So yeah, let me think. Is there... Yeah, that's kind of all there is, but I'll do one more kind of combat and kind of let it play out as like, oh, the crits in this game are massive. Yeah, anyway. Critting and flanking and crazy AoE stuff and healing. Okay, but I'm gonna fast forward to kind of the last combat and then I'll leave with that. Alright, this is me getting to Kulja, and I can see some guys there, and I already know that there's going to be combat here, and I was trying to sneak around and find a good spot where the ambush wasn't going to get too bad. And I kind of wanted to... The reason why I'm sort of skipping to this... see, here we go. This dingo kind of doesn't know what it's doing, but thankfully it woke up. It wakes up. So there is, you could see like the shield there. There is like cover and mechanics and like line of sight, switching to melee and attacking. It's all here. Like, this game has a really robust combat system, and they acknowledge that there's going to be more combat coming. I feel like once the game opens up, there's plenty though. So if you're into combat, this game has it. But yeah, I wanted to show you kind of what it looks like once I got fairly comfortable with combat. All the other times I really stumbled through it. And so this is probably not the cleanest fight, but it does kind of show you when I'm fairly confident in what I'm doing. And it definitely, I would say that this is a pretty challenging fight. But to be honest, like when I got stuck in that ambush earlier, that was a pretty challenging fight too. Oh, and that's, if I wanted to escape, yeah, you try to leave the combat area, and that's how you try to escape. There's all kinds of heals and ranged stuff you can do, and some of it uses AP and some of it uses MP, and your attack points and movement points, all your leadership skills. And so you can like mark a target and do bonus damage, so that's kind of like, I wanted to mark him so I could try to burn him down faster, so I could try to take out that corner. But I also realized, like, if I try to take that corner, the rest of them are just gonna like AoE the heck out of me. There isn't a lot. There aren't a lot of. Oh my gosh, some of this stuff just does crazy damage. It reminds me of Fire Emblem in that regard, where like sometimes there's just like crazy damage. And now it was showing me, it's interesting, it shows you like who you're flanked by and who you kind of can't walk around. And when I said there wasn't like a lot of auto attacking, there are characters who can auto attack in different situations. So if you try to like break contact from somebody, some characters will attack you when you try to get away. There's other characters that'll try to attack you as you get close to them. I believe there's friendly fire in this game, but I think it depends on what your character's attitude is. So I think if you're some of the more... I think if you're a humanist, you can't like attack each other. Yeah. So I guess like the cat's out of the bag too. Now, spoilers, there's kind of like magic in this game. I'm not sure how powerful magic necessarily can stack in regards to conventional attacking. Here, there, the dog just glitched out again. And I was like, gosh darn it, but yeah, he wakes back up. But see, now we're all kind of clumped up on each other, and so I was like, maybe this will help them not AoE me. I don't know, but these guys are kind of crazy, and they will Molotov their own characters. So somewhere in here, I think this entire area gets like carpet bombed with Molotovs and sets all of our guys and all of their guys on fire. That's pretty... There's the guy that I'm supposed to be grabbing. I think you can capture him, but I'm not sure. I have a message into them to ask them if I'm actually supposed to capture that guy. But the bad guys have to reload. The bad guys heal a lot. But that kind of allows you a strategy that's kind of a favorite of mine, where if you know there's a character that wants to heal a lot, you just you have someone damage them over and over again, so they'll try to heal. This is hydrokinetics, which is one of my guys' special abilities. It allows him to like heal and damage at the same time. And I don't know. I really like that playstyle. So I've got like a fire guy, and then me who can like heal and damage. And I've found that to be a pretty good combination. So if I try to run away right now, try to break contact, I'm probably going to get hit by all those guys. So I'm kind of stuck there, tanking it out. Oh, here's where they all just start lobbing Molotovs. The fire stuff stays there for a long time. And if you move, you get burned, and if you stay there, you get burned. And it's a whole deal. You can cure burns, but I don't know how to cure the ground. I don't know if someone gets water spells that can make the ground not be on fire. But yeah, it shows you who and why like line of sight's being blocked. There, yeah, I try to move him. I try to get him out of the fire, but oh yeah, so I can attack those guys. So then I'm like, well, if they're gonna set the ground on fire, I'm just gonna set the ground on fire too. Because I think I was figuring like any minute now they're just gonna start. But then they run into the fire too, so I'm like, well, hey, if they're in the fire and I'm in the fire, then we'll all just see how it goes. And yep, that kind of makes the dog just try to heal over and over again. And I'm like, well, cool, that's one less thing for me to get attacked. But man, those crits hit hard. And this is kind of what it devolves into. Sometimes everyone just getting clumped up in a ball. But the melee in this game is really strong. And the AoE is like really strong, so there's knockdowns and stuff too, very similar to Dead State that has knockdowns. So you could conceivably just like mark somebody, knock them down, just beat the crap out of them. And I ended up getting some really crazy rolls. I get some great dodges in this, and I get like knocking down that big guy was really huge. So this ends up going in my favor a lot more than it would. Aimed shots are great. Setting people on fire is great. I don't know, it's just really rewarding. I've never played a game with like this like these exact like move sets, I guess is what I'm saying. There's just enough fresh here to be interesting. Like, I hope my bigger melee characters get like big sledgehammers later. But to be honest, like they start, like your melee guys, they start them with pretty strong weapons. Your ranged guys, they start them with decent firearms. You don't start with like crappy firearms in this game. Yeah, starting a character like, yeah, see, I get stuck on him right there. I wonder if you can like actually intentionally maneuver around people. I suppose you can, and that's what the white circles mean, and I'm just not paying attention. I did hear one complaint that if you do get in combat way too early, your character isn't very strong, which makes sense. I don't think they balanced the game for that, to get in combat super early, even though you can. So that was kind of interesting. But yeah, I think I'll wrap this. I'll wrap this up and say, you know, Broken Roads definitely has some flaws, but I loved every second of it, and all of the flaws that it has, the couple of flaws that it has, are all fixable. There's no permadeath in this game. I should throw that out there. If I survive this, my guys will come back, but I'll need to go to town and rest afterwards. She's got a great big weapon, but oh man, it does so much damage. And yeah, I mean, this is all fixable. This game has got a lot going for it. Yeah, see, she's trying to break contact, but then I accidentally run into the flames again and set her back on fire. I hope more people check this out. I know I'm not good at reviews, but I'm really trying. And I'm looking forward to playing this game a lot more. I felt like I was finally close enough that I had done enough to give my opinion. And yeah, like I'm 2 patches in, the game's getting more solid every couple days. But I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. I think the pacing might not be for everybody. If you want a tactics game where you get into battle in between every single town, then, you know, there's other, you know, go play Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre or Vandal Hearts or, you know, Fire Emblem. There's tons of games for that. Like this is kind of a hybrid of all that. I know I bring up Shadowrun Returns and Dead State a lot, but those are 2 of my favorite games, and this is more like those. So with some Australian flair. And if you've been in my channel for a long time, you'd know that I love supporting indie authors, because this is the only way that we get the games that we want. The big budget, the big AAA, quadruple A. Oh, here we go. This is such a money grenade. We are. You know, they're not gonna make the games. They're gonna make another shooter or whatever. So, if you want people to make the games that you want to make, you gotta go support them. And if you know you're a YouTuber, you have an audience, or if you have friends, you gotta tell them everyone about it. So, anywho, I'm gonna end this here, and someday, well, I'll be getting fiber in a few months, and then I'm gonna start uploading full, like HD full playthroughs of games after that. And if you're not here for those, then you can skip them or unsubscribe. If you're here for games and indie stuff, I try to do that too. As soon as I get fiber, I'll be doing a lot more. So anyway, check out Broken Roads on Steam or on GOG. I think it's a fair enough price. I think these people did 5 years of work, and I think this game didn't deserve the hate that it got at all. There's been a lot of, again, I guess I'll end with this. There's been a lot of chatter of like whether reviews can kill a company or kill a game or not. And the counter argument has been, well, if the product sucks, it killed itself. But this game didn't deserve the hate that it got. I think the person who tanked this game with their review was a troll and focused on troll bait content. And this has happened to 2 developers that I know now. And they're unfortunately both Aussie developers. So I'm going to keep trying to support them, even though I know the algorithm seems to focus more on negative than positive, but sometimes the algorithm flips and it'll focus on positive instead of negative. So I'm going to stop rambling and check out Broken Roads. This isn't a paid thing. I paid for the game and they're not reimbursing me at all. I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.